Melvin, the Murder Hornet. Written by Rob-Bee Disner. Melvin DZ-015 was a murder hornet. Melvin hated being a murder hornet. All murder hornets had one thing in common. Murder hornets loved to murder honeybees and turn them into meatballs. Melvin hated meatballs too. When he was growing up, it seemed like all he ever ate was meatballs. Monday was meatballs, Tuesday was meatballs, Wednesday was, well, you get the basic idea. Melvin knew there had to be more to life than meatballs, and he really didn't want to murder anything. So Melvin mostly spent his days buzzing around Old Man Johnston's farm and hanging out with his best friend Henry. Henry, on the other hand, never minded murdering anything. It was what murder hornets had always done. Henry wasn't one to rock the boat. One day, when Henry was out making meatballs out of honeybees with the rest of the colony, Melvin decided to sleep in. Melvin always slept in on days like these. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Melvin DZ-015. This is Officer Buzzkill from the police department. It was a sting operation. Melvin was arrested on the spot and charged with not murdering anything. Melvin had to appear in court the next day in front of Judge Thor X. Mangler. Melvin heard that Judge Mangler liked to put hornets like him in prison. Prison was a scary place. Some of the hornets, well, actually all of the hornets in there, had committed murder. In prison, they made you wear a yellow and black striped jumpsuit, which admittedly was kind of silly. Still, no murder hornet ever wanted to go to prison. But first, Melvin had to meet with his lawyer, Barbara Baldface. Barbara was really a wasp. "They're letting you off on good behavior," Barbara said. "But I promised the judge you would go home and murder something right away." Instead, Melvin went to see his friend Henry. "Glad to see you've come to your senses," said Henry. "Not really," Melvin said. "Follow me." Henry followed Melvin over to the soybean patch at the edge of the farm. Melvin had an idea. He knew that humans who also didn't want to murder anything usually ate a lot of soybeans. Melvin told Henry to pretend that the soybeans were honeybees. "Now go ahead and do your best murdering," said Melvin. "I feel silly," Henry complained, while plunging his stinger into a ripe soybean. "Well, if it helps, pretend you are murdering it," Melvin explained. "Okay, Mr. Soybean, prepare to meet your maker," Henry cried out. Henry ravaged a single soybean over and over again until there was nothing left but a mushy mess. Melvin pressed the mush up against a rock until he had formed a neat cube. "This is tofu," Melvin said. "The baby murder hornets are going to love it." Truth be told, he had no idea whether they would love it, but he figured anything was better than meatballs. Melvin and Henry buzzed back over to the nest. They flew down into the nursery and they broke up the tofu into tiny pieces. The baby hornets couldn't get enough of it. They grew big and strong, but there was one small problem. The problem was that the baby murder hornets raised on tofu didn't want to murder anything now. They just wanted to mush up soybeans and read murder mysteries all day. But in time, most of the other murder hornets agreed that this was a much better way to spend the day, and the idea of murdering anything became quite distasteful to them after a while. The honeybees were so happy not being murdered that they delivered a big honey cake to the murder hornet queen. And Melvin spent his days hanging out with Henry, reading murder mysteries, and not murdering anything, which is always the best thing two friends can do together.